On our gold notes from yesterday, what we need to do is go back and find the x and the y-intercepts. Finding the x and y-intercepts, what I'm going to show you is what you have already been shown, because it doesn't matter whether it's a rational equation or a linear equation or a quadratic equation. Finding the x and y-intercepts has the same procedure. So the first thing I need you to do is write down your equation from example number 1 on your scratch paper. That's why I gave you your scratch paper, because there's really not enough room in your notes. Write it down twice. The reason we're writing it down twice is because we have to find the x-intercept and we have to find the y-intercept. So we're writing it down once to find the x-intercept and a second time to find the y-intercept. So write that down twice. In order to find the x-intercept, you plug a 0 in place of y, and you solve it for x. And that's how I know it's the x-intercept, because when I solve it, it's going to say x equals. And so the way that you solve that is you would put 0 over 1 and solve the proportion. What's 1 times the numerator? And then we have 0 times the denominator. What's 0 times anything? That's just 0, and so it's x minus 2, and you solve that by adding 2 to both sides. So that wasn't too terrible, was it? Okay, to find the y-intercept, you plug that 0 in place of the x, that one. You plug a 0 in place of the x, and you solve it for y. So on the top, we have 0 minus 2, 3, 0 plus 2 is just 2. What's 0 subtract 2? And then that reduces to negative 1/3. It is traditional to put the negative out in front of the fraction. And so that is my x and y intercept. Now over here on your note paper, you will see that this is written in point form because that's a point on the x-axis. This is written in point form because this is a point on the y-axis. And then what we're going to do next tomorrow is we're going to put all of this stuff together on a graph. So on example number 2, you write down the equation twice, because you got to find the x-intercept, then you have to find the y-intercept. That's why you're writing it down twice. To find the x-intercept, you plug in a 0. And so that's 0 over 1, and 1 times the numerator is that much, and 0 times the denominator is that much. And so what is this equal to? And so you're always going to be multiplying 0 times the denominator, so the denominator is always going to 0 out. And so then you're going to add 1 to both sides and divide by 2 to find the y-intercept. X needs to be equal to 0. So then this is going to be y equals 2 times 0 minus 1, 0 subtract 3, and 0 plus 1. What is 2 times 0? That zeroes out. What is 0 subtract 1? And 3 times 1 is 3. So we have our x-intercept and our y-intercept. And so this is 1/2, and this is negative 1/3. So on problem number 3, you write down your problem 2 times so that you can find the x and the y-intercept. When you multiply the 0 times the denominator, it's going to zero the denominator out. So you don't have to worry about the denominator. You also don't have to worry about this part that you canceled out, because it's gone. And so this is what you have to solve. X minus 1 equals 0. X equals 1. You don't have to worry about this part that cancels out. In place of this x, you put a 0. In place of this x, you put a 0. So on the top, I have a 2 times 0 minus 1. On the bottom, I have 0 minus 3. So on the top, I have negative 2 over negative 3. What's that? The negatives cancel out, and you have 2 over 3. I am not going to do all of the examples because I think that's probably enough for you to understand what is going on.